Thank you. Please welcome back to the stage Baratunde Thurston, the host of Life with Machines, a tech show about humans, helping us make sense of how AI is changing everything.
Okay. Still not the walk-on music I'm feeling, but I'm here. What's up, y'all? How we doing? We living in the future? Let me get this out of my way here. I am going to do my best to try to remind us of some of what we experienced today, sprinkling in a few reflections along the way. Starting off with this concept, Ben Buchanan we saw, which really just made me miss Joe Biden. It made me miss a certain type of government, I'll put it that way. I know we're gathered here under very general auspices, but the reminder from him that it's not too late to do something, that we can still come together to move forward together. And he was such an advocate for individual agency and the increase of that. And I think as we've gone through the day, we've seen the value of getting even clearer with our terminology. Agency, human agency, what does that mean? Yes, in part, increased individual capabilities, but also our collective ability to decide how and even if we're going to use these services, to test them and fix them when they misbehave, to double down on being human, which means we have to more than double the number of languages we use in order to engage with these models. And if we're going to make a tool that is for all, it must really be for all, for us and by us. If it doesn't work for everybody, it doesn't work for all. Sam Gregory, who's in the room here, said that to me. So Nabiha showed us what Mozilla Common Voice is doing to build things differently. You might say it's truly open AI. I like you so much. It's about as open as a town hall, but lately those have started to feel like the downfall of society, except in Bowling Green, where Yasmin Green, no relation, showed people citizening, practicing democracy as a verb. We hear a lot about free speech, but not as much about free listening. And now with these tools, we can scale not just noise, but signal, finding the messages within with platforms like Polis and Perspectives that she showed us. Now, the technology, of course, is never enough. The key figure in that was the local leader who was humble enough to listen to the voices of the people and then hopefully implement those. And if not, those people will have yet more to say. Now, Rafiq Anadol, the best thing I can say, the simplest thing I can say about the complex, data-driven land of art that he is creating is that he's given us acid trips without the acid. And he is undermining so many of the claims of the industry that we need to drain lakes in order to generate bad poetry. He made models that don't drain the lakes of the world, that work in partnership with nature and the first peoples who are in most community with that world. Dreams on screens. I learned about myself that visualizing my dreams might be my actual worst nightmare. That Nick does not like long emails, so Pippa should shorten hers with AI next time. And that AI is cool, but stay in school, because the editor is running things from here on out, and still understanding craft, even when we're not engaged directly in it, is going to help us discern the slop from the quality work that we create in this new world. And speaking of slop in the world, no one has documented that better than Aaron Huey. He has curated the crisis so we don't have to. And there's an interesting correlation. Aaron has been to every major hurricane, fire, and climate catastrophe, so my advice to you, do not let Aaron near your town. If you want your kids to be surrounded by flowers and burning oil fields, please order some of that wallpaper. And I was really, really glad to see that satirical, dark, and creative, self-generative process to turn some of the most painful aspects of this world into art, helping us make sense of it. Aisha Denise, oh my goodness. I don't know if it was Chopin or AI. I don't know. I know I like when you play it. And to me, that was the big takeaway. I want to see the human more than just in the loop, also driving, even in that interaction. Parts of me wonders what happens when the AI starts to represent her work, and how does she continue to stay out ahead of that? And we're putting ourselves in an infinite race that we can never win if processing speed is the measure of productivity and value for our life. Now, the Earth and the Stars conversation with Cecilia and Dan, I'll be real, I don't understand a lot of that astrophysical science talk. I do understand that aliens have successfully hidden from us for our entire existence. And now Cecilia's about to out them. And I don't know if we're ready. Like, we're barely keeping up with the humans. We got AI and now aliens at the same time. Like, I feel like our attention is very much divided enough. I am very, very excited about the idea of talking to the Earth and doing these local queries and having this conversation about what's going on. I'm also excited about what Dan said. If they can find Pikachu in the playground, they can find illegal mines in the Amazon. So let's get some reward systems for that. Mike Haley at Autodesk took us to a magical world where we actually do get the time back. That's always promised by technology and never delivered. Maybe it'll be different this time, or maybe we have to work together to ensure that it is. Either way, I love the idea of his story leaning into that augmentation. It is about doing things that humans cannot do to make life more livable for those of us who are living here. Also, if we can live in buildings that are made of mushroom bricks, we are essentially Smurfs. That's literally their whole thing. Thank you, Kara Swisher. You planted that in my head, so here we go. Yoel from Match. Okay, so here's what we got to talk about. Everybody who raised your hands on those pickup lines, y'all were made for each other. Like, that was the game. Match matched 4 people here, and you should become a quadruple, and that's your, we will document that. We'll make machine cinema about it. I do want an "Are you sure" button for many areas of my life, like a third drink, or that "Buy Now" button online, or certain votes maybe. Like, I would love an "Are you sure" button for me. Mendo in this machine cinema. Look, I think the great news is we have a lot of opportunity left for human filmmaking. It was both exciting to get our hands into it and do something collective and creative together, but also to feel what was missing and to remind ourselves of our special place in this circle of life and creativity. Now Mourning in Memory, that was a hard one. That was a hard one. We've all lost somebody. I'm thinking about the 20-year anniversary of my mother's own passing, and I loved and really felt charged by that conversation, especially on the consent. You know, we have organ donors, we don't have data donors as a thing. And the idea that I'm gonna have relationships with the dead when I can barely keep up with my living friends feels like a burden that I am not ready to carry. We will either have to have actual privacy laws, or we'll have to achieve a true oneness of being at a quantum level where we recognize the lack of separation between me and you. And I'm not sure which is more possible given the political situation we're in. But we are in a dramatic transition. To the young people, Kiara, Sneha, Matilde, yo! Thank you for not just being talked about as the future, but for being here and representing a view yourself. It was also very relieving to see a South African AI maximalist, not named Elon. I like what you had to share with us. And Sneha for this astute political observation, because none of this can be separated from politics, that we will need to revisit the social compact. One we have had some challenges upholding already. So more opportunity is how I'm gonna phrase that for us in terms of the work we have cut out for us. Now look, on the divine and the digital, I want to play tic-tac-toe with Father Benanti. That's what we learned that we're made of meat, but not all the same meat. Rabbi Jonah learned that women don't have prostates. That was a fun moment. But we all get to learn. That is not shaming. That's an invitation to humility for everyone. We are learning meat machines, essentially, just different meat parts. For each of us. And I'm pretty sure Father Benanti called techno-solutionism a non-practical ethic on par with something that might lead to Nazism and fascism. And I appreciate that very, very much. Not the techno-fascism. I appreciate the call out of what is actually going on here. This idea that Mona brought to the table of naming who's behind and designing these things, of the idea of an AGI perhaps doubling down on our sense of selfishness, on being maximally in the ego of ourselves and our lens on the world, and that religion serves to help people find uncertainty navigable. So good news, religion, you got a growth market opportunity ahead of you. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I just want to hang out with you, bro. Like, man, that was it. That was it. Demystifying AI and how these products are made, standing up for some principles on the input side: consent, control, compensation, and even credit. Let's cite our sources. Be careful of the personification of the non-human. There's this saying that is very alive in activist circles: nothing about us without us. And to me, that is a big part of the spirit that I am taking away from today. And this is not enough. Like Kendrick says, it's not enough, but it's a start. We must continue to do this in rooms much bigger than these. Let's call out the worldviews of those who are so small and taking on something so big. There is an appreciation, there is an aspiration, there is also another A, which is arrogance. And so we must be humble in the face of the size of these things. Humans and LLMs are not the same thing. We can insist on a difference, and we should insist on a value to our life beyond our ability to produce incremental gains in economic output. There is something sacred about that, and I think we're going to feel that in just a few moments. To be very, very real with you, I am split as well, split in two. I see the great possibilities, but I also know a bit of history, and we cannot escape it without consciousness. And what I am not here for is redoubling down, yes, I did the re and the double, on colonization all over again. This time at hyper micro scale of our preferences, of our behaviors, of our footprint on this world, to clone us into a whole digital universe where we are no longer needed. We need each other. And the point for me has always been, as is the title of our show, with. Not above, not below, but with. So let us create more life with these machines. Let us ask what problems we are trying to actually solve. Let us center human beings, but also all of life in the mix, because we are, as you know from Cecilia's work, probably not alone in this universe. And thanks to the Divinity Panel, I'm going to pray for y'all in at least 3 major religions. But there's like 20 more outside of that. I'm Baratunde Thurston, and I'm so pleased to have spent some time with you. And there have been some great words shared today, and I'm not fully responsible for introducing this next and last presenter, but I just want to prepare you. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be human. It's going to be connected. It's going to feel like magic. All right? And so I would like us to end your time with me with a breath, because I'm going to clear the air for what you're about to experience. Can you do that with me? All right, let's breathe in. Is that me? No. They're here. I was trying to calm us down, now I'm freaked out. One more time without the extra party. In this time when everything is so expensive, I appreciate what you have paid in attention to each other and to me for these brief moments. And now I cede the floor to a great weaver of words.